योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्।
Namaskar friends, myself Professor Dr. Preeti Mayani from HRDC Gujarat University. I would like to welcome you all in this Guru Dakshata program. We have a wonderful personality with us, Dr. Neelam Panchal. She is a very good friend of HRDC and she is also our colleague of Gujarat University. She has completed her DLET in management, PhD, MPhil and MBA with gold medal. She is working as an associate professor in BK School of Business Management, Gujarat University. During the course of her career in academics, she completed the faculty development program in management from the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. She has also completed the specialized faculty development program in research at IIM Ahmedabad. Prior to joining Gujarat University, Dr. Neelam has worked as a full-time faculty at Institute of Management, Nirma University. She has over 18 years of academic and industry experience. She has completed teaching assignments with various reputed institutes like Management Development Institute, Murshidabad, Calcutta, Institute of Management, Nirma University, Ahmedabad, PG Diploma in Finance Program in Manipur, Institute of Technology, Nirma University, Ahmedabad, Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, KCG, Ahmedabad, Center for Entrepreneurship and Skill Development, Manipur University, Narmada College of Science and Commerce, Narmada College of Campus Bharuch, then GNFC Bharuch, and of course HRDC Gujarat University. She has attended various management teachers program and FDPs at IIM Bangalore, IIM Indore, IIM Noida, MDI Goregaon. She has published more than 100 research articles in referred national and international academic journals, book, chapters and cases, presented papers in many national and international conferences, and authored and edited more than 15 books. She has been awarded Merit Certificate by Education Department, Government of Gujarat in recognition of meritorious score in Gujarat. She is a recipient of various awards and prizes for best research papers, best performer and best teacher. She is acting as a chairman of Indian Society for Training and Development, Ahmedabad chapter. She was acting as vice chairman of ISTD, Ahmedabad chapter till date. She is passionate about teaching, research, training and has been engaging in industrial and organizational through coaching, training, learning and development. She has taught courses at MDI. She is coordinator of postgraduate diploma program in finance management for the Management Academy, Gujarat University. Dr. Neelam started FMDP cell in the Gujarat University and has been conducting management development programs for middle level executives, faculty development program for the management faculties and student development programs of management. Besides, Dr. Panchal has delivered many invited keynote speeches and talks in international and national level conferences, seminar, training programs across the nation. She has conducted employee development, management development, faculty development, and women development programs for executives and middle level managers of different organizations like Kohler India, PI Industries, Classic Hotels, Jindal Industries, Babina Diagnostics, Asian Paints Limited, to name a few. She has been the convener of the first, second, and third youth summits at national and international levels in the Gujarat University. She has developed MOOCs and e-content modules under UGC HRDC on various subjects of economics, commerce, and management, which is part of Swayam Prabha, DTH channel devoted to telecasting of high quality educational programs. She has published more than 100 research papers, more than 20 books, and developed more than 100 e-content modules and 5 MOOCs on various subjects under Swayam platform of HRDC. So friends, I would like to welcome Dr. Neelam Panchal to deliver her lecture, and I'm sure that it would be very fruitful for all of us. So please welcome Dr. Neelam Panchal.
Namaskar. Thank you so much, UGC HRDC, for providing this wonderful opportunity through which I would be able to interact with many learners. In fact, I am personally thanking Professor Jagdish Joshi and the UGC HRDC team for creating this wonderful platform and providing the opportunities not only to the learners but also to the faculties across the nation. So we know that they have launched the programs like ARPIT program, refresher programs, there's online PhD coursework, online short-term training programs, so on and so forth. So we are very proud of the UGC HRDC Gujarat University for this wonderful interaction and for this wonderful opportunity and doing so great in terms of being first in the online teaching in the and among the HRDCs. So today we are going to look into the session on strategy formulation and implementation in the higher education. So friend, when we are saying strategy formulation and implementation in higher education, somewhere or the other way, we are talking about how to formulate the strategy. In fact, in one of the sessions, we have seen the formulation of the strategy, which involves offering proper direction to a firm. It seeks to set the long-term goals, which helps the firm to exploit its strength fully and engage the opportunities that are present in the environment. So in general, what happens is the managers or even the directors, if we are talking about the education institution, they make a conscious and a deliberate efforts and focus attention on what the firm can do better than its rival. If we talk about the educational institution, then we are trying to observe how my institution, how my college, how my department can do better than the other competitors or the other institutions. Now, once the strengths are known, the opportunities can be exploited and they can be identified, and then the long-term plan is chalk out for concentrating resources and effort. Friends, the formulation of the strategy needs to be done very carefully, and it consumes a lot of time, lot of energy, lot of resources, and you have to be very focused and stepwise while you are formulating the strategy. Once the strategies are formulated, it is very important to see that it best fit between the goals, resources, and the effort put in by the people. Because the ultimate goal of every strategy that is being formulated should be to deliver outstanding value to the customers at all the times. Prince Henry Mintzberg, he found that strategy formulation is typically not a continuous process. It is often an irregular. So while framing the strategy, the strategic managers, that is the top management, must evaluate the vision, mission, policies, Okay, and he pointed out that the objectives and strategies are strongly affected by the top management's view of the world. So, how is the top management viewing the world? Say, for example, tomorrow you are working in a education and you're a part of that strategic development program. Then it is your duty to see, and somewhere or the other way, your strategy is going to be affected. So in this session, we are going to focus upon strategy formulation modes, important aspects of strategy formulation process and the implementation, process of strategy implementation, prerequisites of strategy implementation, and the aspects of strategy implementation. Let us try to look into one after the other. So when we are saying the modes of the strategy formulation, then there are three types of mode. First is entrepreneurial mode. Now, what is entrepreneurial mode? In fact, strategy is formulated by the top management which focuses upon the opportunities and not the problems, and it is guided by the founder's own vision of direction. Friends, we cannot copy everything. Sometimes we follow, but then ultimately it's your own vision as a top manager or your own vision as a part of the institute. You have to look into where exactly you want to make your institute to achieve or to reach. And depending upon that, you would decide, where you want to reach, and you would formulate the strategy accordingly. Second is adaptive mode. Now, when we are saying adaptive mode, these strategy formulation is more by reactive solutions to existing problems rather than a search for new opportunities. So, when we are looking into adaptive mode, what happens is we are trying to find out and we are trying to formulate the new reactive solutions to the existing problems. We are not searching for new opportunities. We are just going ahead with the flow and adapt as per the flow. And the third is a planning mode. Now, when we are saying planning mode, this mode refers to the strategic planning, which include not only the proactive search for new opportunities, but also reactive solutions of the existing problem. So, what you are doing is you're trying to look into not only the proactive search, but you are trying to find out the solutions to the problem. So the strategic planning concerns here with the formulation of the alternatives. It is a forward-looking exercise which determines the future posture of the enterprise with reference to the services that is offered or the market that is there or the profitability aspect or the size and the scale of the organization or the rate of innovation and external institutions. Now, let us look into which are the important aspects of the strategy formulation and implementation. So, basically, there are four aspects which are very, very important. The first is a cultural aspect, second is a political aspect, third is a leadership aspect, and a fourth is a managerial aspect. Friends, what happens is strategy formulation is many times an art, okay, and it is a science as well. So the top management, say for example, if you are in an educational institution, the trustees and the top management who has started the institute, they have to develop the skills and the capabilities to sense the early opportunities. They have to be quick in making the strategic moves. The successes of the companies, the successes of the educational institutions like IIM, like Nirma, like the international institutions like Acceleri, and if you observe many central and the state universities also, the success lies actually in the important aspects that are referring to the strategy. So, what are the aspects that one should consider? That is, the first is a cultural aspects. Now, what do you mean by culture? We know that culture defines the way of the life or decision making in any organization or institution. Culture includes what? Culture includes determining the values, beliefs, norms, and the attitudes. It could be positive, it could be neutral, or it could be negative. So, say for example, if there is any premier education institute, once you enter the organization, you get some feel. You can get an idea about the culture, right? The values, the beliefs, the norms that are imbibed there. So, culture features also relate to societal environment and a societal involvement and orientation towards the strategy. In India, for example, there are some institutions which are highly successful, okay, because of their style, because of the belief, because of the norms, because of the attitude of the management, and the attitude that the management has developed into the employees. Many a times there are a lot of examples which is talking about the culture. Say, for example, Tata Group. Let's take an example of the company. Tata Group is standing for the socially responsible business behavior, right? Same way, these values must be stated in the corporate objectives and the individual goals, individual values, right? Walmart, you all know, right? Walmart is known for best pricing. Now, so Toyota, if we talk about, it is for the quality. Sony, when we talk about Sony, it comes with the innovation, right? When we are talking about, say, Gujarat Technological University, then it is related in the previous years as an innovative university, right? When we are talking about IGNO and BAOU and the type of universities, they are doing good in terms of the distance learning modes. So the point is, what type of aspects are importantly considered in your organization? Let's take an example of the IIM and those type of premier institutes, whereby when you enter, you feel a different culture. There is a flexibility, but still there is a discipline. Nobody needs to observe what faculty is doing and what student is doing, and there's no type of system like that. But then the culture is like that, the beliefs are there, the values are there, the attitudes are of those type, and the norms that are developed are of those type, that people are self-disciplined, they are self-regulated. You need not to tell, you need not to observe, you need not to keep cameras, this and that. I mean, you can keep that for the safety and the other purpose, but for motivating the employees and for bringing out, productivity, you need not to. Why? Because you have created that type of culture in your organization. So, what is important is, for improving the effectiveness in the organization, strategy formulation focuses upon the cultural aspects. Second is the political aspects. Now, the term political here refers to talking sides or being influenced in the decision making. Many a times, even though the bias and organizational politics are subjective in nature, it influences the strategy formulation, right? So the strategy formulation many times depend upon the leadership. It depends upon the managerial team. Many a times we look into in the educational institution also, right? The person who is sitting on the chair, to which political party he is affiliated and which political party is running or into his existence. And based upon that also, many times, your strategy formulation is greatly affected, especially in the type of universities which is under the control of the state and center. There, political aspects plays a very, very important role. So the leadership bias is also very important. Many times, it refers to the bias of the owners himself, right? bias of the capital providers, or bias of the trustees. These are various factors which affect the formulation of the strategy. The third aspect is a leadership aspect. Now, the role of the director who is sitting on the chair is to look into the overall function of your institution. He ensures to operate the thing in a best interest of everyone, right? If you are in a university, the role of your vice chancellor is to see that the overall functioning of the university is a smoother and is effective, and everybody is working with efficiency, and the interest of all the stakeholders, either it is student or government or directors or faculties, it is satisfied. So a good board needs to set a tone that would provide a transparent culture. When there is a transparent culture, there'll be effective dialogue between top, middle, and a bottom, dialogue among the directors, dialogue among the management, dialogue among the faculties, within the departments and between the departments, direct talk between the functional areas, between the divisions, between the courses. It goes on and on and on, but everything is depending upon the leadership, right? So when you are formulating the strategy, one of the very aspect important is a leadership aspect, because effective boards build capabilities within themselves and their organizations that allow them to jointly protect existing assets as well as manage threats for the future growth, which is called strategic overnight or oversight role. So that is called a leadership aspect. And lastly, the managerial aspect. Now, when we are saying managerial aspect, here we're talking about the top management who is in a leadership role, right, for an organization. And he may have to work towards fulfilling a motivational role for the stakeholders. Many times, we are feeling happy, we are feeling motivated with our top boss, top management. Okay, and once you are motivated, then somewhere or the other way, the formulation and the implementation of the strategy becomes very easier. So it is the responsibility of the top, responsibility of the vice chancellor, responsibility of the head of the institution is to see that the goals, the vision, the mission of the university is aligned with the institution or departmental goal and the divisional goal. And then he has to balance between the internal and external initiatives to build a sustainable organization. So these are the important aspects of the strategy formulation and implementation. Now, this is a process of the strategy formulation. What does it include? So the first is developing a strategic vision. Now, vision here specifies what direction or path to follow. It specifies what products, markets, technologies, and customers' policies to follow. Vision communicate the management aspirations to stakeholders of the company, and it helps to boost the morale of the organization and engage them for a common direction. Second is a setting objectives. Now, when you are saying setting objectives, obviously it is an outcome of the vision and mission of the organization. Objectives define specific performance targets, results, and the growth that organization wants to achieve. Now, these objectives can be long-term and a short-term. When we are saying long-term objective, it can be increasing the profitability, improving the productivity, to do better in a competitive position, employee development, right? So these are some of the long-term objectives, right? Even the technological leadership, maintaining better employee relations, public responsibilities, these are all the long-term objectives which represents the expected outcome and expected long-term persuasion strategies for the organization in the next 5 years to come. On the other hand, the short term objectives can be, say for example, this year company want to achieve 15% more results, or this year my institution want to offer new 10 courses, or this year we want to increase the batch size from 50 to 100. These are all the short term objectives, right? So the second is setting the objectives. The third is crafting strategy to achieve the objectives and the mission. So a company's strategic plan lays out its future direction, okay, and performance targets and a strategy. So developing a strategic vision, setting objectives, and crafting strategy, these are the basic direction setting tasks. So, vision, objectives, crafting strategy, these are all long term performance target orientation. And together, they can constitute a strategic your institution. And then, fourthly, implementation and execution of the strategy. So, once the plan is framed, you need to look into the implementation side. You need to look into the execution side because it is operationally very important activity, and it is the most demanding and a time consuming part of the strategic management process. And the last is monitoring the implemented strategy and making the corrective actions. So as long as the company's strategy is going well, then executives may remain stick to to the implemented strategy. Say for example, if your institution is running well, if the batch size is full, if the targets are achieved, if the students are satisfied, okay, and if the faculties are satisfied, then whatever strategy that you have implemented, you would go ahead accordingly. Or otherwise, what you would do is you would make the necessary corrective adjustments. Many times we see that in a short run, students are coming up with a complaint that we're not okay with this visiting faculty, or we are not okay with the guest faculty that is coming. And because of that, sometimes directors have to take a decision of changing, or convincing to the students, or convincing to the faculty, or even modify the faculty depending upon the situation that is prevailing, right? So monitoring the implemented strategy is very important, and more important is to look into the corrective adjustments, corrective steps to be taken if it is required, right? So now we have already seen, and we have seen some of the part over here also, that strategy execution is important, but importantly, strategy implementation is also much more important. So strategy implementation here refers to the execution of the plans and strategies so as to accomplish the long-term goals of the organization. It converts to opted the strategy into the moves and actions of the organization to achieve the objectives. So if we say simply, we can say that strategy implementation is the technique through which the firm develops, utilizes, integrates its structure, culture, resources, people, and a control system to follow the strategies to have edge over the competitors in the market. So what happens is, as an organization, as an educational institution, what I need to do is I need to see the implementation of a strategy in a better way. I have to look into that whatever strategy that is adopted in the organization, that is better way implemented, because you might have formulated well, but then if you don't go for the execution and implementation in a better way, then somewhere or the other way the institute will fail. Now look at this chart, which is talking about the overall implementation process, strategic implementation process, right? So once you have strategic plan, you are trying to achieve the strategies, and for that strategies, whatever strategies you have made, you would try to look into implementation from the project level. You would implement whatever procedure that is required, and the resource allocation would also be done to meet these strategies. And once the implementation is done at project level, procedure level, and resource allocation level, then in totality, it would lead to structural implementation and a leadership implementation. So that would be aspect considered as a managing change. And once you are managing the change, you would try to look into the two implementation, that is operational implementation and the functional implementation. And that is called achieving effectiveness. And once you achieve the effectiveness, parallelly, you would try to evaluate and control. And once you are able to evaluate, if you feel through the feedback that there is a need of change in the plan, you may go ahead with change in the plan, and then again achieving the strategies, managing the change, achieving the effectiveness, and then again evaluation and a control. That means this would be the continuous process of the strategic implementation. So, strategic formulation, strategic management, but here what I'm trying to say is strategic implementation is very, very important, because if you fail either at a procedural implementation or at a resource allocation level or at a structural implementation level or as a leadership implementation level, if at any stage, if you are failing, then there is nothing in your hand. And so the strategic implementation is very, very important.